Welcome to Tell Me Who You Really Are, the podcast that cuts through the noise to uncover what it truly means to be human. Here, we don't hold back. Whether you're a familiar face or an everyday person, this is where we get real about what's truly going on in your life and, more importantly, how you can break free from the barriers holding you back. I'm Jo Emerson, one of the UK's top coaches, and in each episode you will get to listen as I coach my guests in real time, peeling back the layers of fear, frustration and self-doubt. These are raw, honest and sometimes painful conversations, but they're also hugely empowering. If you are ready to see what's possible when you stop hiding and start living, then you are in the right place. Today we're listening to my conversation with Daphne, a middle-aged woman who runs her own successful business but who suffers with anxiety and a loss of confidence due to former workplace bullying. For context, Daphne has been through 2 bouts of serious workplace bullying, neither of which were dealt with appropriately. Hear how the dusty ghosts from the past still linger in her life, but how the power of coaching can send them packing. This is another episode in which you can literally hear the psychological shift in Daphne as she starts to understand a new truth about her past. Listen out for themes of the menopause and workplace bullying. Daphne, welcome. Tell me what it is you would like to work on with me today.
I started my own business in 2018 and I find that I'm still hampered by bouts of anxiety and lack of confidence, and I believe it's due to, or it's partly due to the fact that I was bullied in my previous job.
Oh, okay. Previous job. Okay, let's just stay there for a minute. You started your own business nearly 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that as a result of leaving the previous job because you were bullied? As in, would you have stayed in the previous job had you not been bullied?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
I was there for 18 years already, so there was definitely ground to leave, but there was very little career advice or even sort of help in, helping you leave and find something else to do. Instead, it became a constructive dismissal case.
Did you win?
No, we didn't let it. I didn't let it get that far. By the time I brought up constructive dismissal, I had already been through about 9 months of constructive bullying, and I just didn't have the strength.
No, right. Okay. What was your? You don't have to give me all the identifying details, but what type of work was it?
So I gather independent client feedback for business clients in the construction industry. So the people who commission me are larger businesses that run either engineering practices and architecture practices or construction contracting.
Okay.
And I speak to their clients on their behalf. So it's business to business, and it's all about improving relationships and services in the future.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So your work is around gathering feedback, gathering data, and then translating that for your clients so that they can do better in future.
Yes. Yeah.
What made you decide to start? What took you down that path? I'm really interested.
So I have about 5 years before I left my full-time employment, I had been toying with the idea of setting up workshops and facilitation courses for architects aimed at showing them ways to become better networkers and to be more involved in business development for their companies. And it was very much a side gig, if I may use that word. And so in the last year before I left my current job, my full-time job, one of these architects is a very large international firm. They said, well, we know all about networking, but can you speak to our clients on our behalf? and that's actually how it started. It's by chance.
Okay, so they gave you an opportunity, right?
Yes,
okay, brilliant. And what was your educational background? How did you land in government work and gain the skills you've accrued so far? Just give me a little career potted history.
Yeah, so I'm an architectural historian. I worked for English Heritage for a little while, but then got an opportunity to work in international relations, and I used my cultural background to work on bilateral cultural relations.
Architectural historian into international relations and then into cultural relationships. Okay, and that's how you've ended up where you are. Brilliant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so in terms of the job you're doing now, are you getting good feedback?
I asked for feedback on my own services about 2 years ago, and that was very positive. And in the meantime, people are coming back. So clients that I worked with, and where the service may have stopped or the engagement may have stopped, they are actually coming back. So I see that as good feedback as well. So
absolutely,
yes.
yeah. You're getting repeat business. Yeah, repeat business is a sure sign that you're doing well.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got a business, it's nearly 5 years old, it's doing well, you're getting positive feedback, you're getting repeat business, and you've got a big history of experience in this area.
Yeah.
So in terms of the practicalities, it's kind of all there.
Yes. Yeah.
But because you were bullied in your last job, you are experiencing anxiety and a loss of confidence around your existing business.
Yes, specifically, when things, when there's stress or when things aren't entirely working out the way I envisage, or when there is setbacks, I have a disproportionate amount of anxiety, rather than just thinking, well, I'll make a cup of tea and get over it. I find it really difficult to get over it.
Okay. Were you like this when you were working in a job before?
Yeah, and I think it's because the bully episodes that sort of preceded my leaving wasn't the first time. I had been bullied before in that same job about 10 years earlier.
So tell me about that previous time. What happened then?
So I was. It's the kind of job where I had a specific position, but I could never grow into a managerial role. So that role would always go to somebody outside the organization, but within government. So in 28, it was a new person was appointed and arrived, and this person, absolutely horrible. Actually, the first thing he did on the first job was shout. Literally, he had 4 women working for him in the same team, and he shouted and screamed and did whatever. And
wow,
yeah, it's awful. And what was even more awful is that we asked for help internally, and we mentioned what was going on, and we were just told to just suck it up and try and be friends, which. Now, eventually, it was all terrible. He also took work away, so I was coming in every day, but I didn't actually have anything to do because he took it all away. And a long story short, after 9 months, he shouted at the main CEO of the organization and was sacked. So it was fine to shout at us, but it wasn't okay to shout at the guy in charge, clearly.
Right. And what did that do to you, that period? Because it wasn't just you at that time, was it? Had at least you had other people. Do you know what I mean? At least you had sort of comrades in arms, if you like.
Yeah, but that didn't really make any difference. I think in the end, we were very much, fighting our own battles. And one person was retired early, and the other person had a partner, so she was less. and I think also perhaps as a person, I'm not somebody who would go out and ask for help. I also, especially because I was rejected the first time I asked for it, so I thought, well, maybe I am overreacting, whatever.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What I did,
So, okay.
I do. Yeah.
You go. You go.
As I do think that, following that episode at work and the lack of trust and the lack of support, I started sort of bizarrely hanging out with people that were literally bullying me in minor forms, like so-called friends who would be very demanding, and boyfriends who were really not good for me. And that continued until about 2016. So for a good 8 years.
8 years, isn't it? Yeah. And that hadn't been your pattern before?
Not really, no.
Or you hadn't noticed it before?
I probably hadn't noticed it, but I also, had nice social life and nice, just pretty. Not that I'd noticed, yeah, I'd say, yeah.
Okay, all right, it's interesting. There's the bullying, which is awful in itself.
Yeah.
But with you, there's an extra layer, because with you, there's the gaslighting that came, the corporate gaslighting that came around it.
Yeah.
And I actually think you've just hit the nail on the head when you said that you, I'm not quite sure this is the word you said, but you essentially said that after you'd gone to complain and it had been suggested that you just go back and suck it up.
Yeah.
That you started questioning your own beliefs about what the truth was.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Am I overreacting? Am I making this up?
Yeah.
Is maybe his behaviour is decent and I've just got to lower my standards, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that undermining of your sense of self, your sense of what's okay and what's not okay, is probably sitting under a lot of your anxiety right now.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm assuming you've been left with a sense that you can't trust yourself or can't trust your own judgment.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean then? If you feel that you can't trust yourself, so I'm going to assume, but please correct me if I'm wrong, that up until 2008, when all of this started, you were someone who, as you said, had a great social life, maybe trusted yourself, enjoyed your work, had a life that was happy and working.
Yeah, I mean, I had a few anxieties. I've always been an anxious traveler, for instance, but nothing I couldn't handle or was particularly worried about.
Right. Okay.
I also.
But go on, you go.
Well, the thing that happened that coincided with the last sort of period of bullying just before I left is that I started perimenopause. So my responses to the bullies were erratic and stressed and emotional, and that was of course all used against me at any given moment. And that was another layer to all this, is that not only were they pretty horrible to me, but they also were very unsympathetic. They showed no empathy, and nobody asked me at any time, actually, by the way, Daphne, you're 49 years old. Have you been considering this? Or and of course, needless to say, my GP just wanted to put me on antidepressants, because it was also not in tune with the fact that I may actually be hitting menopause. So there's an added layer to the fun. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So so what help have you or did you subsequently get for any of these perimenopausal symptoms?
I got after numerous blood tests, I got HRT, and I've been on that. I've actually been on a lower dose for the last year or so, and it's been very good. Literally, it was like night and day difference. Yeah.
Okay, great. But the anxiety is still lingering.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So you went from being, I mean, we hear this a lot, don't we? Especially now that menopausal stuff is being discussed more
Yeah.
openly, it's part of the national conversation.
Yeah.
We're hearing frequently of women who, have kind of got lives that are working and then they just fall off a cliff into, as you've described, anxiety and an inability to cope and all kinds of awful symptoms when they hit the menopause. Yours compounded at the time by some nasty bullying, then some gaslighting around it. Do you live alone, Daphne?
No, I don't. No, I live with a very nice partner who I met a year after I left my job.
Okay,
Roughly,
right. So,
yeah.
but in 2008, were you living alone?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So there's that as well to contend with.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
like a lack of support at work, a lack of support at home, perimenopause, the bullying, the gaslighting. Like it's,
Yeah.
there's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you were very destabilized back then. And there's a
Yeah.
part of you that hasn't quite recovered.
Yes. Yeah. I did in 2010 tried some therapy. It's called ERT or EMT, something like that, where they it's specifically aimed at trauma.
Yeah. The emotional the tapping method.
The tapping, yeah. And I think it worked a little bit. It worked until the next trauma came along, I guess. Yeah.
I see. Okay, and then you needed some more.
Yeah, but I haven't been back because
Okay.
yeah.
Tell me why you haven't been back.
A number of reasons, mostly because it's extremely expensive in London.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
even if I was looking after myself really well, it's still, it's still not worth getting into trouble for, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of what you want going forwards, can you describe to me, if I could wave a magic wand over what's happening in your, I was going to say in your life, but probably inside you internally, if I could wave a magic wand, what would change?
I think I would become a little bit more laid back and a bit more just enjoy the day to day. The fact that I mean, there's a lot to enjoy if I step away from and look at it. And so rather than fretting about things that aren't going so well, I'm trying more and more to focus on things that I enjoy.
Okay. And how much do you think these ghosts from the past are still haunting you? These bullies from 2008 and then the bullies from 2018?
They're not on my mind every day, but the moments I feel I'm being put on the spot, or the moments I have to perform at a level that I think is expected from me, I get I hear all these, I can hear the comments. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So up they pop. So they sit in a dusty cupboard in your life, and then you get into a stressful situation and out they come.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Dusty ghosts. Out they come from their dusty cupboards to just remind you of everything that they've told you that is not good enough about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How much anger do you still hold towards those bullies?
That's a good question. It's definitely a lot less than 5 years ago. Every now and again, old colleagues pop up on social media because they're saying something to somebody that I'm following as well, if you see what I mean. And I find it's not as unsettling as it used to be, if you see what I mean.
Do would you still want to see them?
Absolutely not. No. No.
Okay.
Never.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. I'm wondering, these bullies, I'm wondering what they taught you.
From what I recall from the 9 months when it was the worst, and by the way, I was bullied by a woman who was in charge, which is just to add to the insult to injury.
Yeah. Well, listen, misogyny exists from woman to woman.
Oh, absolutely.
Just as much as it does from men to women.
Yeah.
I mean, it's chronic. So yeah, go on.
Yeah. It was just this ongoing attempt to paint me as a very bad and unpleasant person, and it's just totally not who I am, and it's not who I believed I am, or at the time believed who I was. So it was a constant battle, fighting against the picture that they were painting of me, and myself trying to fight against it. If you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Why do you think a woman would want to paint a negative picture of another woman?
Oh, I've got several theories. I think in her case, I think she may have felt that being tough and mean meant that she could, she could hold herself on the male platform of promotion and success.
Okay, so she had a twisted relationship with the alpha energy.
I think so.
Thought it was.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, she had absolutely no empathy towards me, anyway, in any shape or form. Quite shocking, actually.
All right. So that's one or two reasons that she lacked empathy. She was possibly trying to play a man's game, and in her mind, men acted in that way. I have to just say that the best men out there are full of feminine, beautiful, gentle, loving, kind energy.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So she had that twisted. Why else, though, do you think a woman might try and belittle another woman?
I mean, the first thought that came up to me was that I was threatening to her. But in fairness, I really can't see how, because she was, it's like several positions above me. She was in charge of the whole organization. And yet, I mean, if I had been threatening, then I'd be curious to find out in what level. But yeah.
Well, she I mean, I would say that she was clearly threatened by you. If you weren't a threat, why would she try and put you down? What would be the point?
I think it was she was trying to score points with higher managements, trying to get rid of. I was quite expensive in terms, I wasn't a long-term employee on a nice salary.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me always thought, well, it was good point scoring on her behalf by getting rid of me, because it would save money.
But surely you needed to be replaced.
Yeah, but you can replace. I was literally replaced by 23-year-olds. With very little experience, so they can start right at the bottom of the salary scale and save money that way. Yeah.
Okay, so monetary reasons. Okay, so we've got all these. Okay, so we think it could be because she's got a twisted alpha energy. It could be because she lacks empathy. It could be because you were a threat to her.
Yeah.
It could be a purely financial reason.
Yeah.
Give me another reason why she may have decided to belittle you.
So in 2008, there was the problem with that male manager was also passed on to a female manager who was knocked on her, who was told off by higher management for her role in the whole affair, because she was partially part of him being placed in the position, and she was kind of defending him all throughout, etc. So she then eventually became one of the managers at the organization where I was working. And from the beginning, there was a sort of, unpleasant atmosphere, because I think she blamed me for her, slight setback within her own sort of career journey. And that was okay, but I believe that she left because this is typical government. You're not allowed to leave dossiers, but they surely always do. And I believe she left a dossier that was picked up by the woman in 2018 or 2017, and she thought she would finish the job, basically.
So you were set up?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, right.
And again, you think, I was literally not that high up in the organization. I had some influence, but nothing like, I wasn't some sort of Russian spy. None of that. I was treated like danger, which is, in hindsight, is completely nonsense. Complete irrational.
It's interesting, isn't it? It is irrational, but we're dealing with people's. All of these people we're talking about will have all been plugged into their own fight, flight, freeze response. At some point, they were feeling under some sort of attack, and they were making moves to protect themselves against a perceived threat, and that's their stuff. But this is the reason I made you go through this list. Is at no point have we established that this woman bullied you because there was something wrong with you.
Yes. Yeah.
And yet you have translated the bullying event as it meaning that there was something wrong with you.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
So when you get into a stressful situation and those old ghosts, those dusty ghosts, leap out of the dusty cupboard, the tape that plays in your head is, I'm not good enough. They said this about me. They said that about me. It's all true. I'm a terrible person.
Yeah, correct.
And yet you and I have come up with a lot of evidence to suggest that that's not why you were being bullied.
Yeah.
We have no evidence to suggest that you were being bullied because of a lacking you. We have a lot of evidence to suggest that you were being bullied for political reasons, for monetary reasons, because someone was playing some kind of funny game, because maybe you were a threat to her sense of self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Interesting.
You're laughing.
It's just really
very interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me why you're laughing. I can hear a shift in your voice already. Tell me about that, Daphne.
It's just silly. I'm sitting here thinking, gosh, if I'd made this list myself 5 years ago, I would, and it feels a little bit teenage as well. It's a little bit like, gosh, why would I? And literally, these women were not, there's nothing special about them, but I certainly wasn't impressed by them. So why would they have such an influence? You know what I mean? I wasn't.
Because you were vulnerable at the time. You were vulnerable at the time.
Yeah.
People being mean to us is horrible. It's a horrible experience.
Yeah.
So I'm not belittling the feelings you've had, and you need to stop having a go at yourself for the last however long it's been being difficult, because that's just the process you've been through. Yeah. But we're just looking at it in a new light now. We're bringing it to the court and saying, here's the evidence, Your Honour. Let's actually look at this. You've just not had the opportunity to do this before. No. So don't have a go at yourself for feeling bad. It's horrible what you went through. It's awful. Plus, at the time, you were perimenopausal, you were living alone, your security was under threat, and it landed. What happened was that meanness landed, and because you weren't able to, have a coaching session or talk to a therapist or whatever at the time, process it appropriately, it landed and it took root.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what we're now seeing in your life is the fruit of that kind of wonky plant that's taken root in your mind, and the fruit being this current anxiety and this kind of self-doubt.
Yeah.
But what we're doing today is uprooting that plant that should never have been able to take root.
Yeah.
Because it's not a valid equation. It's not, it's a weed essentially. We've just got some weeds.
Yeah.
that we need to root out.
Nice way to look at it. Yeah.
If you could go back to you at 2008, if you now, with your HRT, in your lovely settled relationship with your lovely partner, with your successful business, if you could go back and speak to you in 2008, was that 15 years ago? Go back and speak to 15 years ago you.
Yeah.
What would you say to her?
I would probably say to step away from work and hang out with people, spend more time with people who do value you and who do like hanging out with you, and just focus on the nice things and don't get too wrapped up in it.
And what would you say about the bullies? What would you say to her about the bullies?
You know what? I would probably say at this time, I would probably say seek professional help in terms of, you find out about your rights and, where you stand, and talk to somebody, if nobody in the organization listens, and take it further.
Yeah. So stand up for yourself.
Yeah. Don't just lie down and yeah.
Because, you were scared into not making a fuss. That's the other cruel thing about this.
Yeah.
Is, the bullying and the organisational negligence, shall we call it?
Yeah.
Kept you down, kept you from being able to have a voice.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
And again, you see, I think when you're in a stressful situation now with your current job, that there's a little part of your brain going, shit, I might not know how to do this. I might get found out, and then it's all going to go terribly wrong.
Yeah, it's very
and
true.
And again, that's that. Right. I know, because I've been there, and I've been doing this job a long time. But that's that part of you. That's you from 2008. That's unresolved you from 2008. Still thinking she's in a threatening situation.
Yeah.
But actually, you're not. The threat has gone. When you're in a challenging situation now, it's because the universe, if you like, because life is calling you into some more growth.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I haven't done this before. I need to work out how.
Yeah.
That's entrepreneurship for you, right? I run my own business, you run your own business, you learn a lot. And it's and there's so much we don't know. And the scariest thing is when you don't know what you don't know. At least when you kind of know what you don't know, then you can go and find out, find it out and go and do some learning. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
I wonder whether when you're in that kind of scared place that you go to, where people are engaging your services, but they've maybe challenged you on some other feedback you've given, or they want a deeper piece of work, or they're not quite understanding what it is you've presented, and you go into panic. I'm wondering whether you're translating their questioning as criticism. Does it feel the same as the bullying and the criticism from the past?
It does. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, is it that, or is it that your translation of events is a little skewed?
Well, it's probably translation, because these people don't actually know me that well, so they're literally only talking about this one little aspect of their engagement with me, which
okay.
So no, they don't know me at all. Actually, they just know me in terms of the service I deliver. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Tell me, what values do you most value in life? What are your core values? How do you show up as a person?
Kindness is a core value. Service is a core value. And empathy. Yeah.
And is kindness, service, and empathy, are those the three core values upon which you're running your business?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm thinking that if I was to engage your services, say I asked you to go and speak to all of my clients and do some research from them and find out how they felt about working with Joe Emerson and what I could do better and what maybe I've done well in the past, what they want more of, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
If I engaged you and then there was a piece of feedback I got that I didn't quite understand, or I wasn't quite sure why you'd maybe asked that particular question, and I came to you, if I came to a business run on the values of kindness, service, and empathy, and I said to you, I don't know why you asked that question, how would you respond?
I would try and explain why the question was asked. So I would explain the question and explain the envisaged outcome and the actual answer the actual response I got. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I wouldn't get defensiveness or attack
No.
aggression. Or no. Interesting. Okay. No. Interesting. Okay. So I can't imagine. Go on. What were you going to say?
Well, I've been telling myself since in the last 5 years that it's easier because people are clients and clients are being treated with respect and I'm in service of my clients. So it's easy for me to take a step back from my own emotions.
Well, yes, but also they respect you because of the way you're showing up. Yeah. You're showing them, you are setting the terms of the engagement that they're having with you. You're showing up with kindness, service, and empathy.
Yeah.
And therefore, that's the tone of the contract you have with them.
Yeah.
Therefore, if they have a question or a query or a problem with your work, it's unlikely they're going to come at you with attack and criticism. It's likely that they're going to come to you curious and with questioning, because that's the service they're getting from you.
Yeah.
Whereas the soup you were swimming in before, that toxic soup you were swimming in before, that bureaucratic, sounds like everything was brushed onto the carpet, secrets and lies and defending positions and one-upmanship and gameplay and passive aggression.
Yeah.
That's a very different soup, right? That's a toxic culture.
Yeah.
Where kindness, service and empathy probably wasn't going to get you very far.
No.
Right. But you're not swimming in that soup anymore, Daphne.
No.
You have created a new culture in which to work, a new soup in which to swim.
Yeah. Much better, much nicer.
Good on you. Good on you.
Yeah.
So, but again, you see, you're saying you're doing yourself down by saying, oh, but it's only because they're my clients and it's easier then. And like there was something wrong with you for not being able to be like this in your last job. But I'm saying that it would have been very difficult to be like this in your last job because the culture didn't support it.
Yeah, that's an interesting, because one of the things I see a lot of business owners posting about themselves, what they're doing in terms of charity work, etc. And I'm involved in things like that, but I actually don't talk about it much. And it's partly because I am holding back of showing more of myself, and I think it's because I'm sure it's because I'm worried that I'm going to be judged on it. But you're right. In my current work, I won't be judged in the same way as I was in the previous setting. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, also, we have to come to a stage as humans where we have to stand in who we are, stand in our power, stand in what we believe to be the truth. And if other people don't like it, let them not like it. Let them jog on.
Yeah.
Does it really matter if they don't approve, or if they does it really matter? They don't pay your wage anymore, these people, these judges, these bullies. They don't pay you anymore. You don't have to have lunch with them anymore. You don't have to buy them a bloody Christmas present in the round robin. You don't have to eat their birthday cake on birthdays. You don't have to do any of that crap anymore.
No, very true. Yeah.
So, if one of them were to think a sarcastic thing or about you, well, you're never going to know what they're thinking. If they were to leave a sarcastic post response on LinkedIn, I'd leave it there so everyone else can see just how toxic they are. I wouldn't even respond.
Yeah. Interestingly, after in 2021, so just after the lockdowns, I sort of divorced myself from a couple of friends that were left over from that toxic period, and one of them was, and one of them was always leaving nasty comments everywhere, and it's interesting, isn't it?
Right.
But yeah,
it is interesting. Well, you got into a habit, didn't you? You got into again, I'm going to use the analogy of the soup. You were swimming in a toxic soup, and then you thought, oh yeah, you actually said, didn't you, at the beginning of our call, that then your friendship started to go a bit toxic, and it all started to go that way. It's all right to walk away from relationships like that. It's all right to walk away from jobs like that.
Yeah,
it is. It's a sign of character to walk away and do the next right thing for you. That's okay. There is a but, though, which is what we have to try and do if we want to be free is to do some work on forgiving those people, some work on accepting that they are who they are, that the reason they behave so badly is because of their own pain and their own shame and their own unresolved stuff. Because let me tell you, no one who's happy with themselves bullies another human being. No person, no one who is at peace, who had is in a loving, supportive environment. People like us, we don't bully other people. We have no need to.
No.
Right?
No.
Because, so I feel sorry for these bullies. They hurt you, but you are no longer a victim. You have left that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been a little bit of the victim you've sort of dragged along with you, but I think we're letting her go today. But it feels to me like the final step here is for you to do a little bit of writing, maybe letters that you don't send, or just type an email that you never send, or whatever, or go and light a candle in a church, or chuck a stone into a river, or whatever, of letting go, of letting them go, allowing them to be who they are, which is bullies, but they can't hurt you anymore.
Yeah.
And actually saying the words, I let you go, I forgive you. I hope you find some happiness in your life.
Yeah.
That's the final step. And when we can get to there, then we're really free. Does that sound like an outrageous proposal to you?
No, not at all, actually, no. Mm-hmm.
Because it's freeing you from, their clutches. That means that the next time you're in a stressful situation and those dusty ghosts are trying to get out of the cupboard, they will find that the cupboard's locked from the outside because you've forgiven them, you've let them go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Going forwards, how do you think you're going to approach your business? Having just looked at this situation of yours in a different light, how do you think you might run your business and hold yourself going forwards?
So this our appointment has been in the diary for a little while, and I have actually started making changes, I think, sort of gradually from when it was put in the diary. But interestingly,
interesting.
Yeah,
that doesn't surprise me.
No, and so I've like small, tiny little changes, like rather than instantly responding to emails, I wait a little and I think about it. And I often write things and then I don't send it for another day, so I give myself more time to respond. I'm also more honest. So yesterday I was approached by an ex-client of mine and I didn't like her incredibly. She was not my favorite client, but she is making inquiries about doing some work again. And I was actually genuinely happy that she contacted me. So, and I told her that. So I'm more authentic as well. It's just literally saying thank you and really appreciate your email. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do you think you would be able to stop apologising for yourself now? Do you think you'd be able to, you know what I mean? Do you think you'd be able to kind of show up to work and think, do you know what? This is what I do and I do this really well. And I'm going to maybe shout about it a little more and put myself out there a little bit more?
Yeah. Probably, yes. Yeah.
How might you do that? You know, what I'm thinking is, could you put something on LinkedIn, for example, and just think, well, if those ex-colleagues see it and they make a funny comment, well, that's up to them. Like, could you take the risk of owning the space you've now found yourself in?
Yeah, I've been posting more on LinkedIn recently anyway, because I've been asked to chair a panel in 2 weeks' time. So I've been, and I'm going to a big international conference in March as well, which I've been fretting about, but it's important because I can show my face to a lot more companies. I'll be posting about that. But interestingly, I'm not bothered about whether my ex-colleagues see me on LinkedIn. I'm not. I think I'm connected, and I'm sure they'll see me, but they never respond to anything I do ever. No. So that's fine, you know.
Well, if I was one of your ex-colleagues, if I was one of these bullies, and I was now looking at you with your own successful business and your gorgeous partner, I'd be thinking, bloody hell, I wish I had her life.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
No, look how well you're, like, literally, look how well you're doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is the bit of the conversation that we haven't had, which is just to kind of give you the credit for being bullied twice really badly and thinking, I know, I'll start my own business.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a lot of people would have been very crushed after going through what you've been through, and they would have given up. But no, not you, Daphne. No. I'll start my own business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
I do have an unhealthy doses of resilience.
I wouldn't call that unhealthy at all. I think you've got amazing resilience. You know, and these bullies have shown you how you don't want to be. And this is the most important thing with bullies, is they show us who we don't want to be.
Yeah.
And you know, we all need reminding of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true.
Just your anxiety around your business, your lack of confidence. How are you gonna, when that pops up again, what are you gonna say to yourself?
Well, the last few times I said, you know, I've made it this far. So, you know, I'm not making as much money as I wanted to do, but I'm making money. So that's all good. People are coming back.
It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when those bullies, when those voices of those bullies start up again, are you going to be able to remind yourself that you had a wonky equation, that you had equated them bullying you with something being wrong with you, when actually you and I have worked out that it's nothing to do with you why they were bullying you?
Yeah.
Because I think that, for me, that was the light bulb moment of our conversation.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hold on a minute. I am translating events from the past in a way that might not be based on truth.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you're going to take away from this session, Daphne?
It's literally that. It's literally, you know, that in a split second, your brain equates something, and then it's hard to escape unless you get shown a way out.
Yeah, and you've created your own way out today. Yeah. There's a big, wide open door. I'm hoping you're going to run through it and close the door behind you,
Yes.
and leave the past where it needs to.
Yeah.
Where it needs to stay.
Wonderful. Yes.
I hope that those bullies eventually find some peace. But I'm much more concerned with your peace. That's
Yes.
that's what
SMI.
we want.
If you are being bullied at work, please don't blame yourself. That's exactly what the bully wants you to believe so that they can get away with their awful behaviour. Instead, speak to HR and tell them what's happening. Hopefully, this will nip things in the bud. However, if this doesn't work, consider getting legal advice. Also, consider leaving. Your sanity and mental health are far too valuable to risk going through any more bullying. 3. Know that bullies treat you badly because they are trying to offload their own intolerable feelings of self-hatred onto you. What I'm saying here is that it's not about you, no matter how personal it feels. And lastly, next time you come across a bully, put an immediate boundary in place by calling out their behaviour. This way, they will know never to mess with you again.